Hey everyone, this is Jonah Johnson with you for another edition of JJ in the Field.
Hey guys, Jonah Johnson here, Sales Agronomist with PCT Sunrise, and today we're in northern Crawford County, and it is the second week of June, and we finally have some heat here building. We're probably in that 90-degree range. Crops are starting to grow. We're probably kind of dry again, unfortunately. So up here north of Crestline, we're looking at some beans, and as you guys kind of look at your fields, and Vince, if you want to pan around, we're starting to get to that time of year where we're looking at post-application of herbicides, foliar feeds. You know, this crop here is probably pushing V2, V3. A lot of our labels will show that, you know, that's the optimal time for our early post-weed control, and then of course some of our foliar feeds on some of our crops as well. And so some of the things we've been seeing this year, we think about the environmental conditions we've had. You know, we've had seed potentially sit in the ground a long time. We've had several big cold events that could have shocked some of those plants. And we had some peaking high temperatures, and then it went back cold again. So a lot of these ups and downs have made these plants brought to them a challenging growing environment. So as these plants look as of now, we've been hearing from some guys that they're starting to see some crop response from various different herbicides and surfactants and things that are mixed in that tank. And so it's not necessarily per se a specific herbicide. We've seen this in low volatile dicamba and 2,4-D. And then of course if you have stacked residuals in there for later weed control through the growing season, which we highly encourage, keep in mind that there's going to be oils and other products in there that when they sit on these plants that have had very weak cuticles to them, meaning that like my outer layer, my skin, the epidermis, will be something similar. So if you didn't have you had very sensitive to sunburn, for example, and you went out on a bright sunny day, you get sunburn real easy. And that's really similar to how these plants are. They're very sensitive to these thin cuticles. And so as we get these plants that are getting these herbicide and foliar doses on them right now, there's a high chance you may see a crop response. So if that is the case a lot of times, but you may see some speckling from the combination of the environment and the product sprayed. But 9 times out of 10, the beans pick up out of this, and everything we've seen thus far, the new growth, especially in beans and trifoliates, have come out of that, and you won't see any negative repercussions from that. In corn, ironically enough, and this is all across the corn belt this year, we've seen a lot of different herbicide mixes on the same thing, thin cuticle leaves on plants, where typically we'd see corn plants metabolize those herbicides. Well, this year, they're being somewhat stunted. You're seeing some yellowing, some whitening from some of the certain herbicide classes, and these plants are growing out. The new growth is growing out of that, but don't be super alarmed if you are seeing that, because that is all tied back to the environment and the ups and downs and these environmental swings that we've been dealing with this year. So if you guys have more questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be glad to help you look at those fields and diagnose and maybe put your mind at ease. So for that, this is Jonah T. Johnson with PCT Sunrise. Thanks for watching.